Welcome to the Fantasy NASCAR Podcast, brought to you by RaceForThePrize.com. North Wilkesboro Truck Series, let's get after it. You're looking at the optimal lineup on the screen. You can get access to this data at RaceForThePrize.com. Venmo, PayPal, Cash App. It's in the description below. It's at the website. $15. What do you say for the rest of the month? That's 2 North Wilkesboro races and the Charlotte races. Send it my way. I'll send the sheets your way. Save you time. Make it easy. You'll have fun this weekend. You'll have fun during the Memorial Day break. Let's do it. So, Kyle Larson, obviously the most fantasy points at North Wilkesboro. Before we break down the driver, just a quick rundown of the race. Not easy to pass at a short track. We know that, but the elite teams, the elite drivers got to where they needed to go. There were multiple cautions in this race, which opened up different tire strategies. So we had some comers and goers, but in the end, the cream rises to the top. Ultimately, average running position coincides with the performance. Some of the bigger events, you get a overtime restart that flips some drivers on their head, and some people get big boosts. We also have significant boosts throughout the field because of attrition. We do see several decent drivers wreck out. Almost reminiscent of what we just saw recently at Martinsville. Martinsville would be a track that I would look at. It is in the spreadsheet, and you can look at Martinsville, look at the optimal lineup. You see on the right side of the screen, all the cautions, look at the laps, and make your decisions. Though Martinsville's wrecks weren't necessarily a lot of the top of the field, North Wilkesboro's wrecks last year in a star-studded event with all eyes on North Wilkesboro. Maybe they were a little bit more aggressive. Probably going to be more aggressive this year. And we could see the guys at the top wrecking. But at Martinsville, about a month ago, a lot of our wrecks were guys in the back pack. You know, those 20 to 25 guys taking each other out. 10 to 15, 15 to 20, and not so much our leaders. I would argue that everything is on the table this week at North Wilkesboro, being a big sold-out crowd, all eyes. Maybe not. Maybe not. This is an afternoon race, so we'll see. We shall see. Maybe just got there and turn laps because of the repave. Anyway, we'll go over the optimals again. Restart at the end shakes things up. Could happen, right? This is very reminiscent of a Martinsville-type track where you get locked on the outside, you lose 5 spots. You get in the right groove, you gain 6 spots on a restart. Boom, wow, huge difference. 6 spots, that's 12 fantasy points. You went from nothing to all of a sudden you're the optimal value pick. So watch out for that. Very well could happen again. You just need one caution at the end. You're like, oh, well, it really doesn't take much. You get a caution within 10 laps of the end, they'll just go and run yellow into the end. We know how this truck series runs. We know how they'll just turn caution lap after caution lap after caution. It's not like, oh, quickie yellow, we got to get back to racing, guys. We got to get back out there. I got 20 laps left. Let's do overtime. What are we doing? There's 20 laps left. We'll just go to OT. Okay. That's an exaggeration. Anyway, let's break down this optimal lineup. Obviously, Kyle Larson, number 1. Corey Heim is your number 2. He just basically keeps the seat warm until Larson gets to the front, and then Larson absolutely crushes. One of the things you might want to look at is Heim did run one of the late model races last year to prep and get ready, and we have several drivers this season that will be running in the pro late models, which is the lower series, and then others running in the late model stock car series, which is the upper tier of the Cars Tour. ASA is not racing this year, but there are some that are dropping down to run in this race. Heim ran a late model race last year at North Wilkesboro, goes on to have success in this race, and Heim's run and plenty of Southeastern late model races throughout his career. He's going to go talk about late models again. We probably will talk about late models this week. Maybe I'll do a late models video before the show on Thursday. Or Wednesday now that it is. I probably won't have time, but it did cross my mind. Chase Purdy, running for KBM, gets into the optimal lineup. Has a pretty decent day. It's about a 15th place car. Average running position can be kind of tricky for these drivers if you're really diving into the stats because, like I said, we had different tire strategies. So some people would jump up, jump down, and then sometimes they would take tires, and then they would log a lot of laps under caution in 22nd place. And so in the end, it looks like their average running position is pretty bad. But when they actually were running green flag laps, their average running position was much better. And I'll go ahead and show you that here in a little bit. Like Bubba Wallace, as you can see, 12th was his average running position. He finishes 5th. You would say, oh, wow, he must have gotten lucky. Well, when we go through the data, and because of NASCAR's ability to really extend these caution flags, he just logged a bunch of laps after a cycle, and so he's in the 20s getting clicked and clicked and clicked and clicked. And then when we go green, he makes up for it. Benedetto has a pretty good day. Carson Hocevar, no real surprise there. Good day. And Bubba was running for Tricon, by the way. That note is in your spreadsheet. Chris Hacker's going to be the one that we talk about, running for Stephen Lane, formerly On Point. Remember back in 2019, halfway decent team with Brendan Poole running for them. Around, 15th to 20th place car every week. They occasionally pop onto the scene with a 15th to 20th place truck, I mean to say. He's running 19th before that final caution, so that's about where On Point can run on a good day, especially when there's attrition, especially when we see top 10 drivers taking each other out. It's not a stretch for the Lane truck to be in 19th to 20th. Maybe a bit of a stretch for Chris Hacker to do it, but not out of the world of possibilities. And then he just nails the last restart. We'll show you that in a little bit. Friesen has about a 15th place truck, has to drive through the field. He gets a bit of a boost because we have top 10 drivers taking each other out. Matt Crafton has about a 15th place truck, 10th to 15th. Gets to 7th, again, because we have top 10 drivers taking each other out. Ross Chastain, just a good day. Nothing really special here. Oops, don't mean to change that data cell. And not to discredit Ross Chastain. Now, this will definitely help him when he went and did that Cup Series race later, but it was the Kyle Larson show. Corey Heim had a fast truck. No shame in Ross Chastain's performance. Just wasn't going to be his day. Tanner Gray actually is much worse than, he finishes 18th. And typically we see Tanner Gray 15th place, nothing special. Kind of been a disappointment for Gilliland and Tricon over the years. This one's probably a little bit more. His 29th is pretty true. He just ran in the back. Now, I can't find any details on mechanical issues or wrecks, but he is in the back all day, and he only gets there because by the time the race is over, everyone's taking each other out. William Byron was also in this field. Good, but running for Kyle Busch, but not as good as Kyle Larson or Corey Heim. And he has a bad restart at the end. Also, last run, pit cycle, in traffic, doesn't really make any gains. Struggles in the last run, and then not a good restart at the end. And they're just out there. And actually now we can break down some of these drivers. So we'll run through the lap by lap. Again, to prepare for your North Wilkesboro truck race, you can look at last year's race. I would also say you want to look at the Martinsville race. I'll real quickly put that optimal lineup on the screen for you. Christian Eckes, no surprise. Christian Eckes also tested at North Wilkesboro earlier this season. Time Majeski, no surprise. I recently was just going through all of his late model stats at Third Turn. It's a website that does a lot of the late model and other races. It's amazing, man. Snowball Derby wins. South Carolina 400 wins. I mean, you name the prestigious late model race, he's won it. He's done really well in the Southeast, even though he's not from the Southeast. He's a Midwest guy. Tons of Midwest late model success. I think he's got several Slinger National wins. Unbelievable. Very impressive. Check it out. If you like stats and like nerding out. Time Majeski, Third Turn. I know people make fun, he's looking up the late models again. It's been pretty predictive. Mason Massey ends up in the optimal lineup at Martinsville finishing. That's just pretty much the answer. He finished He survived all the cautions, but he was within striking distance, running around 24th. Martinsville, it's got to survive. There's Chase Purdy. Chase Purdy, optimal at North Wilkesboro last season. Last year running for KBM, he'll be in a Spire truck this weekend. Rajah Caruth was optimal, surviving. And then Caden Honeycutt, one of my favorites. I just remembered, I realized why some people on the internet hate him. Because they are, I guess, jealous of, he's an iRacing guy. And if you have iRacing success and you also iRacing, I guess the code is, and I'm not into this. I just play iRacing to play iRacing. I don't stream. I'm not into iRacing streaming or watching streams. I just like to race. I just like to study racing. It's fun, like a sport kind of thing. I don't really want to I know I'll post a 3-second clip when I win. Sorry, I apologize. But I just like to play the game. I don't need to build a streaming fandom thing. Anyway, I guess in that community of streaming, people just hate each other and they're resentful. And Honeycutt is an iRacer, and so that's why people don't like him. I guess. I don't know. But you look at his resume, it's awesome. Chili Bowl racer. Out there in the dirt tearing it up in Tulsa. iRacer. iRacer for Junior Motorsports. That's probably it. Late model success. Getting Xfinity runs, truck series runs. Like Caden Honeycutt. Come on now. I believe he'll also be participating in some of the Cars late model stuff this weekend as well. So keep your eye on Honeycutt. All right, back to the laps. North, Wilkesboro. So we explained Larson, no problem. We got Ty Majeski. Not surprised. Benedetto just has a pretty good day. We can look and see. Just running up front. Solid, awesome day for Benedetto. Congratulations. Doesn't really tell us much today. Same thing for Hocevar. Now, what I want to point out with Bubba Wallace, the example of once, so obviously he starts in the back, so he's going to get some average running position points counted against him, basically, right? Those laps, meaningless laps in the first 24 laps, are going to lower his average running position. We go green when it matters. He starts to run better. All right, we got a pit cycle. But so look at under yellow, under caution. These laps are getting counted against him as his average running position. He can't move up. It's yellow. It's lap 67. I'm in 22nd. I can't move. So, and he doesn't care about his average running position. Doesn't matter. But when we look at the stats at the end of the day, those numbers are going to sometimes suppress or hide what is really going on. So we go back to green. Look, he is fine. He is running 11th, 12th. Now he's up to 7th. He's up to 4th. He's looking good. He's looking good. When the green, he's a top 10 car. Now, again, look at all these laps under yellow where he's going to get logged as, oh, this is a 20th place car, 20th place truck. And so it's going to make his average running position look worse than what it is. And then when we go back green, he's running fine. So you look, oh, well, his average running position is 12th. Yeah, he finished 5th. Fluky Tricon truck. Nope. Time was good. Matt Crafton, once we start taking out trucks, just slowly, methodically, works his way forward, gets spots, runs a clean race, although he is involved in an incident very early in the race. But it doesn't hurt him as much as it hurts other people. There's Purdy. Makes a good run here at the end. Passing trucks, or makes a good run at the beginning, I'm sorry. Bunch of different cycles, and then works his way back forward. It's a KBM truck, should have no problem passing trucks in the 20s. It's a KBM truck, should have no problem passing trucks 15th to 20th. Should run 15th. Probably should run 10th. It's a KBM truck. And there it is. Once we get towards the end of the race, he's where he's supposed to be. Slap on some tires. Drive right back up to where you're supposed to be. Caution at the end. Don't blow it. Actually grab 2 spots. Nothing special here, folks. Just as long as Chase Purdy doesn't screw up, the truck does it for you. It does the work so you don't have to. The bubbles. Ross Chastain, 6th place truck. Restart doesn't necessarily go his way at the end. Not the worst of these situations, but as I mentioned before at the beginning of the podcast, this caution on lap 250, the green-white shootout, works for some, not others. Ross Chastain loses a couple spots. Could have easily gained a couple spots, finished 3rd, no one would have been surprised. Loses a couple spots, finishes 9th, like, look, borderline top 5 truck. Grant Enfinger, around 10th to 15th place truck, grabs a couple spots at the end. Now, typically, we've seen Enfinger run well some of these short, flat tracks like IRP, although IRP has a little bit of banking in it, and Richmond. But again, this is a stack field. And GMS was on their last leg at the time. Larson, Majeski, Bubba Heim, Ross Chastain, William Byron. No one expected Enfinger to get a top 5. He should be very happy with the 10th place finish. All right, here's William Byron finishing 11th. William Byron, I think I mentioned that he struggled, and who was I thinking of? But either way, last restart mainly just doesn't go his way at the end. He is in 8th place at the end, finishes 11th. Again, like Chastain, could have gone a little bit better. He's running as high as 4th throughout all these cautions. Slaps on some tires. 10th, doesn't really make too many gains before the last caution. That's all she wrote. Here's Hacker. You want to break down Hacker? Let's break down Hacker. Now, first question is, who is Hacker running for? It's on point. Remember, I mentioned that earlier. You probably forgot. So he starts in the back, runs in the back, get a caution, makes some moves. Oh, it's pretty decent. Drives his way up to 15th. That's pretty impressive. Under caution, hanging out, into stage, puts on some tires, cycles back to the back, driving forward, again, passing cars in the backpack a little slower this run, not making the gains, biding time, staying on lead lap, slap on some tires into stage 2, running in the back, not making any gains, just kind of hanging out, waiting for the chaos. And then we start getting cautions, picks up 2 spots, running in the very back. You're like, oh, he's not going anywhere. Well, you can't when it's yellow. We're not getting any action. But now he is actually getting some because people are just wrecking out. And now all of a sudden he's in 24th from lap 204. Purely attrition. He did show some speed, but I think some of that might have been pit cycling, etc., and different strategies. So on lap 222, he is in 24th. And most of that is due to attrition. Whatever. Chris Hacker's not going to be in this race. We don't really care. And we don't really care about the on-point truck. What we really are trying to find is an archetype, a possible value play. Another Chris Hacker type. Hacker type archetype? In that, can the value be a slug? Can the value pick at North Wilkesboro this weekend be an absolute surprise? Through attrition, I would argue, is how he gets to 24th. What say you? Well, let's just look. We scroll down to the bottom. Who's already out of the race by now? Spencer Boyd just running in the back. No surprise there. Josh Williams is out now. Connor Jones is out. Nick Sanchez is out. Timmy Hill is out. Oh, well, Timmy Hill could have been running. Timmy Hill probably would have been running ahead of Hacker. Zane Smith is out. Ben Rhodes is out. Roger Carruth is out. Dean Thompson is out. Johnny Sauter would have been behind him. So 1, 2, 3. Actually, you could argue maybe it's a roper truck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spots. Where's he at? 24th. It's a 30-ish place truck that was just given 20 spots. Is that an archetype that could unfold this weekend at North Wilkesboro? Could they be a little bit more feisty up front? It doesn't even necessarily need to be feisty up front. It can be feisty mid-pack. It can be feisty top of the backpack. It can be feisty top of the Lemons class, like we saw at Martinsville. If you're in the very, very back, every car that goes down, you go up. And so, again, well, now he's in 19th. Well, it's because, we haven't quite added, we actually have added Ankrum to the list as well. Ankrum's running the back after his incident. And a little bit of that is because Lawless Allen's getting into several situations. Haley Deegan gets into several situations. I think Garcia, nothing yet. All right, fast forward to where it matters. Hacker is in 19th. And I would argue that, okay, maybe he did run a little bit better at the end. But again, who was he racing with in 19th? Oh, it doesn't matter. Well, actually, it does matter, because what we want to think about is, again, we're looking for not specifically Hacker or this truck. We're just trying to identify value. So when he's making these gains, he's racing with Brett Holmes. That's who he's battling with in the Lemons class. Tanner Gray, who is really not having a good day at all, doesn't really do anything. He's very similar to Hacker in that he just gets all of his spots based on attrition. Colby Howard, running for Roba, not that great on the day. Lawless Allen, bunch of issues. Haley Deegan, bunch of issues on the day. Give him credit. He is ahead of most of these guys in the Lemons class. He is winning the Lemons class. So there is that. Congratulations to Hacker. But the bigger story is all of these guys are battling in the Lemons class closer to the top 20 because we had so many good trucks wreck out. We're about to have another one wreck out in a second. And so we have the restart at the end, and Hacker hacks the system. Wah, wah. I can't believe I did the wah, wah. Oh, God, I need this school year to end. So he's in 19th. We get a restart. Bam, he's in 12th. How about that? We could very well see a Lemon from the very back, attrition his way to 20th, and then leapfrog his way to 12th. Everybody's on the board, folks. Thad Moffitt, come on down. Now, I wouldn't put Spencer Boyd in that conversation, but some of those Lemons in the back, and since we have an entry list, let's look at those Lemons in the back. I don't really have them sorted. Justin S. Carroll. People gave me a hard time for talking about Justin Carroll and his late model appearances in Southeastern Series. Is Justin S. Carroll the end-all be-all? No. Is he the bee's knees? No. Is he the next big thing? No. Does he have late model experience at some of the short, flat tracks around the Southeast that could possibly allow him to be slightly competitive at a Martinsville, that could allow him to be slightly competitive at a North Wilkesboro? Does he live within the logistical mileage where so that he can work in his shop around the clock and drive to the track and unload and not be severely financially hamstring by trying to travel across the country and chase a dream? Is it possible that he can go to one or two nearby tracks a year and financially make it work? Yes! Gee. No, that's all right. This guy's looking up late model stats again. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's dumb. He looks at stats. We just said guys are good or bad. Come on. But this will be taken out of context. And when Justin Carroll wrecks or finishes 25th, yeah, that loser's looking at Justin Carroll. He picked Justin Carroll. I didn't pick Justin Carroll. Every time I talk about a driver, I talk about every driver. So if you want to say, if I talk about them, I pick them. So then everybody that wins, then I pick them. But the way the game works is they wait for anyone that I talk about that I kind of like or say something positive about. And then when they have a bad race, they then will say, I picked that driver and that I don't know what I am talking about. And then when I highlight a guy like Tyler Reddick, remember 2 weeks ago, the guy on the comments just coming after me about Tyler Reddick. And I said, all right, man, you better move on, but you probably ought to play him at Darlington. He's pretty fast. And the guy like, Tyler Reddick's slow. 2311 stunk. You don't know what you're talking about. You're the worst ever. You're the worst fantasy NASCAR guy. Why am I watching your videos? And then why am I continuing to post comments every 5 hours? And then why am I still watching your videos? And then why am I watching your videos again after you made me look bad in the comment section? You embarrassed me. And now I'm back on your videos. And I'm commenting. And he's commenting again. And he's commenting after Tyler Reddick pretty much owns Darlington. And he acts like it doesn't happen. And he's just like talking about the Xfinity series. Wait. You're back watching my videos. Thank you. Thank you. I didn't mean to embarrass you, whatever that guy's name is. Just wanted to prove a point. And I'm glad you're back. But are we just going to act like that Darlington Tyler Reddick thing didn't happen? Because you're just talking about Xfinity now all of a sudden. Your Xfinity picks suck. Did you see the Tyler Reddick thing? Did we miss that? Remember when you said he was not good, and then the next week he crushes? You want to like, no, you're just gonna completely act like it didn't happen and talk. Okay. Anyway, back to Justin and Carroll. What are we doing here, folks? Does he fit that mold of, look, can he run 25th maybe? Well, all you got to really ask yourself is, can he run 35th? Because if we get, like we did at North Wilkesboro last year, 10 top tier, I mean, basically everyone is going to be in front of him. And if anyone wrecks, and he's not one of them, then those are spots that he gains. So just through attrition, he should be 25. Just through attrition, he should be a part of that pack that we were just talking about. Just through, hey, don't wreck the truck. Although he did wreck the truck at Martinsville. Him and Brett Holmes late in the race. But again, here is the situation. This is why, if you survive that terrible rant, which I know sometimes I go and start doing these voices, and people are like, this is the worst part of the podcast. I really wish he wouldn't do that anymore. I kind of wish I wouldn't do that anymore either. But we go back to this situation here in lap 245. We're looking at value. We're trying to make better picks for North Wilkesboro. Trying to win you a GPP here. Trying to help you find that value pick, that diamond in the rough. Always love finding gold in the earth, hard and cold. Always surprised to find more. Always surprised to find more. Anyway, we got Chris Hacker right here. Hacking the system. He did it again. Holmes, Gray, Howard, Lawrence Allen, Haley Deegan, Chris Wright. We got the Lemons class battling it out. He's getting ready to win the Lemons class. He is in 19th. But Holmes is right there. Howard's right there. Lawless Allen is right there. Through attrition. I mean, Lawless Allen was not having a good race, but he just wasn't having a very awful, super bad day like some of the other drivers. And so by simply having wheels still on the wagon, he is in 23rd. Justin Carroll. Now, it doesn't have to be Justin Carroll. It could be another one of these lemons in the back. Just keep the hood on your car, Matt Mills, and you are going to be battling with the lemons at the end. You can be in 20 to 25th. We get that last restart, and you don't have to hack the system and go from 19 to 12. You go 19 to 15. You started in the 30s. You cost $5,000. You're in the optimal lineup. Come on down. That could be Justin Carroll. And I know the haters are saying, this guy's pick. Oh, fine. I'll pick Justin Carroll. Put me to it. It's fine. You want to label me? You want to pin me against the board? You want to put baby in the corner? Do it. Look at this. We'll look at this Martinsville situation anyway, where people are like, you picked him at Martinsville. I did not pick him at Martinsville. I suggested that maybe he could run well at Martinsville. He didn't. He wrecked out. He finished 30-something. You're an idiot. Let's go to the laps. And let's look and see what happened to Justin Carroll. Running in the back. What you expect him to do. And honestly, running 30th at Martinsville for Justin Carroll, I don't have any problem with that. There are a lot of laps at Martinsville. There will be a lot of laps at North Wilkesboro. Lap 114 don't pay nothing. Lap 115 don't pay nothing. He knows there's going to be wrecks. He knows there's going to be volatility on a restart. Just stay in the game. What are we doing? You guys understand racing? I know you understand racing. You get it. You're not worried about it. You can overreact. What do you want from Justin Carroll? He needs to be in 5th place. Shut up. He needs to be in 10th place. Shut up. He needs to be in 20th. No, he doesn't. Not on lap 118. Justin Carroll doesn't need to be in 20th place. Why? Why would he put himself in that position? Just stay in the back. He knows the truck that he has. He knows the only way that he wins is through attrition and just being smart at the end of this race. He does not have the horsepower. He does not have the setup. He's getting there, earning a little bit of a paycheck, making some connections, having some fun. Anyway, so he's running 30th. That's fine. Cycles up a little bit. Running a little bit here. Obviously, this is a little bit inflated, but it's fine. He's competing. 22nd. He's in 22nd. All right, now we're starting to do something. And on the restart, he gets a little bit more aggressive. Maybe he goes for it a little too early. He and Brett Holmes get tied up, and he wrecks and goes to 31st. But there it was. There was the move. It's almost like horse racing. He said, all right, I'm going to the outside. Now it's time to unleash this beast. Probably should have held off a little bit longer. It's taken down the restart. If he runs around 20th with that mid-pack, then he puts himself in a position here at the end to get those big North Wilkesboro gains. It might not be Justin Carroll that does it. That is fine. But the point that I am laboring over is that you can go to some cheaper drivers that you really don't like. Now, I don't really like going to Spencer Boyd. But the cheapies and even the guys towards the top of the mid class, top of the lemons class, or the bottom of the top class, like a Stephen Parsons, can easily top 10. You know, we're not going to get a top 10 out of Carroll. He can be a good point per dollar play just based on survival and a boost at the end. Parsons can also get a boost from survival and a boost at the end. He can run 15th to 20th. And then when the top takes themselves out, he comes away with an 8th place finish. Connor Jones can surprise us this week. He's been okay in that Thor truck, but if he doesn't do stupid stuff, now he'll probably do stupid stuff. Timmy Hill is typically a guy that can get it done. This is the typical, prototypical, archetypical, Timmy-typical Hill. The Archetim. Bide your time, methodically run, stay around the top of the lemons class, nail your last restart, have yourself a day. We have seen him top 10. He almost won at Martinsville a couple seasons ago in trucks. Have a good Xfinity race at Martinsville. North Wilkesboro didn't work out for him last year because he wrecked early. So he did not have his archetypical, typical Timmy Hill day. It's almost sounding like a Mary Poppins song at this point. So Timmy wrecked out. Now, if we go to Martinsville, he was trying to do his thing. He was trying to do that typical Timmy Hill. And for the most part, he did ultimately get it. So here is that typical Timmy Hill running right there in the limits class towards the top. Now slides back to the back of it. Now battling back up to 22nd in the lemons, getting some attrition spots. Gets his high on lap 197 at Martinsville. And then he gets wrecked by Stuart Friesen. Doesn't really hurt his average running position. Now, possibly if he doesn't get wrecked by Friesen, maybe he gains a couple more spots, flirts with the top 15, who knows. But he was right there at the end for the final laps with an opportunity to really score even more. Still has a pretty good day. But there it is. That's that archetype. Not a really fast truck, just attrition. Put yourself in the lap where you start. And you remember Friesen takes out Hill because Infinger had just taken out Friesen, which also collected Matt Mills in that situation. When Friesen gets taken out, Matt Mills goes down. Matt Mills is a guy that absolutely could come through for us if he doesn't wreck out, although sometimes I think Matt Mills a little too aggressive. He doesn't really fit the archetype of what we want. We want the attrition bonus, and the higher probability of being that is a safe driver and not a guy really trying to drive hard. Timmy Hill doesn't try to drive hard. Mills tries to drive hard. The harder you drive, the less likely you are to survive. Justin Carroll can't really drive hard because he doesn't have a drive hard car. And so we run the race a million times in our simulation, and Matt Mills wrecks out more often than Justin Carroll or Timmy Hill. Well, at least Timmy Hill. Again, belaboring the value point, looking at some other drivers real quickly that we think could fit that archetype besides Timmy typical Hill. Thad Moffitt's going to be there. Absolutely. Can survive. You can see his finishes just simply recently 24, 27, 26. Always, you'd like to see him start further in the back. But again, project, whatever, faction racing, building a team, slowly, methodically. Same thing with Spencer Boyd. I mean, I don't know if you can completely write Boyd off the board, but you prefer Moffitt, has a little bit more speed. Mills going to be there, although we just talked about the downside of Mills. Wallace Allen's going to be there in the conversation, but similar to Matt Mills, he races a little bit harder than Timmy Hill and has a higher volatility rate, I would argue. And Justin Carroll, again, can't really race all that hard. Brett Holmes sort of splits the difference for us. I would say he's not quite as aggressive as Wallace Allen, being that he's driving his own stuff. He's not quite as aggressive as Matt Mills because it seems like Matt Mills has got that JF electric paycheck for the rest of his life and has the support. Whereas Holmes can't really blow stuff up, although I think his dad's construction company is pretty good. Dawson Sutton, decent little bit of success. You can click on the link and see what he has done. He does have, he did compete in the little snowman, what is it? It's the race before the Snowball Derby in Pensacola at Five Flags. He qualified for the race. I think actually, I mean, you can pull up his stats. Oh, hell, whatever. We're already doing it. We might as well just pull them all up. We're having fun here. Having fun at the show. I don't mind running long. I'm just rucking anyway. It's, 5:30 in the morning now and just sweating. Anyway, we got Dawson Sutton. Who's Dawson Sutton? 2 years ago, he was just a kid at home eating cereal with a rich dad who co-owned a truck team called Rackley WAR, War Racing. And then he's like, hey, Dad, I want to race. And his dad's like, all right, what is here? Go play some iRacing, see what you got. He wasn't bad at iRacing. He's like, all right, well, I guess I'll throw you in the late model. And the kid wasn't bad. He's like, all right, you got 2 years, is what he said at first. Do something or we're done. Gee, thanks, Dad. All right, well, whatever. At least give me the opportunity. And he did. And so they're like, all right, let's this kid in the truck, North Wilkesboro. See what he's got. So there's an ASA race. Got a top 5 this year at what? I cannot believe we are breaking down Dawson Sutton stats. Finished 4th. Are we really going to look at a random ASA race? No, we're not. I'm not going to go that far. We'll look at something a little bit more significant. See if we can find any wins. Rock Carriers Cars Pro Late Tour. So he has competed in 712 of the Pro Series in the Cars Tour. Again, that is the secondary series of the Cars Tour, and which is, no slight or anything. The stock is the better of the 2 series. He got 2 top 5s, Tri-County. He did compete in North Wilkesboro last year. He finished 39th. At the very least, he did run, but he got into an accident early in the race. So at least he did run some laps in practice and qualifying, and did qualify for the race. Pretty stout field. He started 5th, though. So let's give the kid some credit. If he was able to qualify 5th in that field, yeah, but he finished 39th. I get it. Trying to spin as positive as possible. But that was a stacked freaking field, folks. So we look at last year's 2023, Harley Davidson 75. The first race really of the week. I actually think the ASA race was before it. You got Corey Heim finishing 2nd. The new man, the myth, the legend of Connor Zilich finishing 3rd. Brent Cruz, solid racer. Jeb Burton, Caden Quapple, all great late model dudes. Brett Holmes is in the race. Carson Hosever is in that race. He qualified 5th ahead of some of these really good race car drivers. You can see the list. Garrett Smithley. Who didn't qualify? Chris Wright wasn't able to qualify. Not bad. Again, this was the lower series of the 2, but hey, a little bit of experience there goes a long way. He's run short flat tracks in the late model series. I would imagine that Daddy's going to give him the best truck he's ever built. Will be interesting to see. Southeast Legends Tour. Got 3 wins in Pro Late Model World Series of Asphalt. I don't think this is the greatest series, but he does have 3 wins. The one I want to look at, the Snowflake 100. He also competed in the Rattler a couple weeks ago down there in Southern Alabama. I believe Matt Weaver was there. I don't think he had a good finish, but he did get a top 5 in the Snowflake 100, which is one of the bigger late model races. Again, it's not the Snowball Derby, but he finished 5th behind Stephen Nasse, who is a really good driver, ahead of Caden Honeycutt. And looking through the list, not really seeing too many that I'm also familiar with. There's Brent Cruz. That's pretty solid, folks. Where did he qualify as well? Started 8th, finished as 4th. Very interesting. Only here do you see people bringing down Dawson Sutton. I don't know if I would go as far as to play Trey Hutchins in the archetype that we've talked about, or Clayton Green, dusting him off. And then obviously you can look up Brendan Queen's stats. This is a different story. We don't have pricing, but I expect Brendan Queen to get slapped with a pretty significant price tag. Butterbean Queen has been extremely successful in the late model series. He's won prestigious events, South Carolina 400s. I believe he's got a Martinsville, Virginia Triple Crown win. You name it, he's got it. Next big thing, McQueen, or next big thing, Queen. Running for Tricon, who arguably have the best trucks in the series. You got it. I think that's going to do it. I cannot believe how much I talked about North Wilkesboro. Kind of can. What's new? Just go on and on. So as we wrap up, just remember, not easy to pass, but the elite can rise to the top and will get to where they need to go. Ultimately, average running position will reflect performance. Late race restart definitely should shake up the DFS grid and take the value picks that were working and make them not working. And also maybe take some of those mid-tier guys, put them into the optimal lineup. There's always that good truck wrecking out boost that influences it, helps pretty much everybody out. I think that pretty much wraps it up. Martinsville is something that I would study. Last year's North Wilkesboro race. That'll do it. Thanks for joining me, guys. Blessed as always that you spend your time with me, and that you put up with the stupid things that I say and the stupid noises that I make and the bad voices that I make and the bad takes that I make to hopefully get a gym here and there. Love you guys. Trip's life fantastic.